Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea. Welcome back to your Chelsea news. Chelsea Football Club will rack up the nominations for an annual award. Pedro Neto's first team place is under threat. Real Madrid won in Estevao. And more importantly, Cole Palmer is back. Now, of course, I'll be my own thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported. But more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. And before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We're on the road to 15k by the end of the season. You can also use the new YouTube hype feature, which pushes this video out to a bigger audience. Kicking things off, Fabrizio Romano has reported that Chelsea deny the rumours that it offered Romeo Lavia as part of the deal for Garnacho. Chelsea trust Lavia and its goal is to improve his physical condition. The club is convinced that Lavia can become an exceptional player. Now I'm just going to spend a little bit of time on this because we did react to the reports yesterday saying that Lavia was used as a makeweight potentially for the deal in Garnacho, and Manchester United denied taking Romeo Lavia or rejected the offer purely based on his history record of injuries, which I think is very believable. I think it would be a very sensible thing for a club to think about when taking on board someone like Romeo Lavia as part of a deal. Now, obviously, Chelsea board and the journalist or whoever puts out the information regarding Chelsea from the source are very quick to squash anything that isn't even, remotely true. They are very, very good at this. I will give them props for that. If there is a player we're linked with, they come out very quickly and say, whoa, we're not linked with that player. However, if we are linked with a player, they kind of just let things boil and stew and then they do their own thing anyway. So I feel like there is definitely weight to this, but at the same time, there were reports yesterday that it wasn't only Romeo Lavia that was offered, but it was also Christopher Nkunku. Now, we know that Nkunku was heavily linked with the likes of Manchester United in the summer when we were trying to offload him. Same with the likes of Aston Villa and there's a load of other Premier League clubs. So I don't think it's unbelievable that would be the case, but it does pose the question because Chelsea have come out and said that they're convinced he could be an exceptional player, and I think I speak for all Chelsea fans here. He is an exceptional player. The only thing that we need to kind of worry about Lavia is that famous Chelsea phrase, if he can stay fit. When he is fit, can he stay fit? That's literally it with Romeo Lavia. Now, there's a lot of you guys in the comments, it's very 50-50. Some of you guys also said yesterday that it wasn't Lavia that was put in the part exchange deal or whatever it may have been, or been a makeweight. It was actually Tyreek George. And I agree, that was what was reported. But again, sometimes things come out that maybe didn't reach the public sector of going out to everyone else. So who really knows? Chelsea is saying that they didn't do that and they weren't even thinking about it because Lavia can be an exceptional player. I totally agree in his talents, but it does pose the question with the repeat injuries from a lot of Chelsea fans. Some people are like, just offload him, make a loss, get rid of him, he's never going to be fit. A lot of us are saying, you know what, just give him time. He's young enough to get over this road for recovery. All these little injuries, the big injuries, he will be fine in a couple of years, even this season if he can stay fit. We just need a good run of form, and if he can stay fit without adapting his role too much, he will be world class. Because when he is fit, he is unbelievable. And you can see the difference and the levels that he brings to that Chelsea first team. So I just wanted to speak on this briefly and kind of, report or react to both sides of the story. And we reacted to the side where it's saying he was offered as a makeweight. This obviously come out from Fabrizio, one of the most reliable sources. Very rarely gets things wrong. Basically saying that Chelsea's like, no, that didn't happen. So, I will leave it up to your thoughts and opinions down below whether you think Chelsea were actually looking to offload Romeo Lavia. Will they look to offload him in the summer? Or are they sticking by their words and saying he's an exceptional player, he can definitely go onto those heights, we just need to keep him fit? Because I personally feel like there is a mixture of the two. There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen at Chelsea, and maybe some of them are saying this could be a potential, and maybe a lot of them are saying, whoa, hang on a minute, he's still very young. He has a long time to kind of recover, get a run of form, and he is going to be world class. Look at his performances and look at the data because they know they're very data driven. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Globe Soccer have reported Chelsea's nominations at the Globe Soccer Awards for 2025. Best Coach, Enzo Maresca. Best Sporting Directors, Lawrence Stewart and Paul Winstanley. Best Men's Player, Cole Palmer. Best Midfielder, Cole Palmer. Best Women's Player, Sandy Baltimore, Lucy Bronze and Hannah Hampton. Best Men's Club, Chelsea Football Club. Best Women's Club, Chelsea FC Women's. Now, I'm going to be honest, I didn't even know that these awards existed. I'm not going to lie, I've never heard of the Globe Awards. Say that I live under a rock, fair enough. Very curious to know if you guys know what the Globe Awards are. If you do, let me know. Let me know previous winners because I've never really seen it advertised. Couple of questions. I've never seen sporting directors being nominated for an award. That's new to me. I've never ever seen that. Never seen, oh yeah, these sporting directors of Barcelona or Real Madrid or whatever it is have won an award for being best sporting directors. Question marks over that for me. And it also poses the question that, have they done a good job? Have they not done a good job? It's a very touchy subject within the Chelsea fan base when you talk about sporting directors. I'm fully aware of that. But I'd love to know your thoughts regarding that specifically down below. Because I think it's 50-50. I think they've done very, very good things. I think they've done very questionable things in their tenure. But I feel like the overall plan is a good plan. It's just not perfect. No plan is perfect. It has holes in it. And there are still things that we can improve. And now we have like 5 sporting directors. So I don't really know. It's a bit of a messy situation if you ask me. Most clubs have 1, if any, and we've got 5. So, hey, 2 of them, Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart, have been nominated for an award, which I just find wild in footballing awards. But hey, again, I could be living under a rock. This could be a very common thing. But Cole Palmer, best men's player, love that. Best midfielder, love that. Nominated for 2 separate categories, which is incredible. The women's players as well. Sandy Baltimore, Lucy Bronze, Hannah Hampton, all thoroughly deserved, incredible players. Best men's club and best women's club and best coach. Enzo Maresca, that the weight of the winning the Club World Cup is doing wonders for his profile and his portfolio. Could you imagine if Chelsea made a clean sweep in this Globe Soccer Awards? That would be unbelievable. If we got Club of the Year, best women's club, best women's player, midfielder, men's player, sporting directors, that would be wild. Now, I would like to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding the Globe Soccer Awards. Do you know about it? What are your thoughts? Do you feel like we deserve so many nominations? Who really knows? Cole Palmer, I think, is thoroughly deserved. Whether it's best men's player and best midfielder is a different question. I don't know any of the other nominations. Obviously, this is a Chelsea channel, so it's just seeing how well we are being represented at these type of awards is great. Enzo Maresca is best coach. Do you know what? I think he's a top manager, and I know that there are fans out there that disagree, and that's perfectly fine, but I just think he is a good coach, really, and I think he brings the best out of a lot of players, which we're going to speak about in just a little second, about the players he has improved the most. The sporting director's very, very questionable in my opinion. But yeah, how do you think Chelsea will do with all of these nominations? Do you think it'll be a clean sweep? Do you think we might win 1 or 2? Because, I mean, look, best sporting directors, I couldn't tell you the sporting directors of other clubs. It's one of those things I only spoke about really within the Chelsea fan base because half of us hate them, half of us love them. Well, I'd say half and half. I'd say a third hate them, a third like them, a third really don't care. So let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. S. Johnson Sport have reported that Chelsea are very happy with Enzo Fernandez. There is an awareness among sources within the club that he has improved the most under Enzo Maresca. He is regarded by the same sources as being a perfect system fit for how he wants his team to play. And you know what? I think I would agree with this. Not because I'm a fan of Maresca, not because I'm a fan of Enzo Fernandez, he's one of my favourite players. I genuinely just think that Maresca has brought the best out of Enzo. Now, we can squabble over individual performances and going, he shouldn't be playing as a 10, he shouldn't be playing as a 6, this is his best role, whatever. When you take a zoom out and you look at last season's output, his performances overall, his season, best season he's played in a Chelsea shirt. Now, you could also argue under Pochettino and under Potter, very turbulent, no foundations, everything was all over the place, and I would totally agree with that. Maresca has done a very good job to come in and build on what Pochettino was trying to do in terms of just settling the ship. Completely different philosophy of how we play, different style of play. We offload a lot of players, we brought a lot of new players in. Again, still a bit of turbulence, but a lot more settled than, when these owners first took over and Enzo was one of the first signings to come through the door alongside Caicedo, right? I personally feel like last season he was one of our most consistent players, over the course of a season. Again, individual performances up and down, of course, but his output was fantastic. It was over 20 GA. I think he's been very, very vital to us performing this season, and I'll go back to the Wolves game because recency bias is a thing, right? And in the last game against Wolves, he was fantastic. Didn't get any output in terms of GA, but he ran the show. He orchestrated that from midfield. He was fantastic and showcased how good he can be. There's also been other games this season where I think he played very well against West Ham. There was other performances as well. I just think he's such an integral part to Maresca's system, and this kind of backs it up, and I'm glad that he's being highlighted for this, because the other question or debate or conversations that I have with a lot of you guys is who's Enzo Maresca improved? He's come in and he's not improved anyone. I'd say Levi Colwill, come on leaps and bounds. I'd say Enzo Fernandez has come on leaps and bounds. The fitness of Reece James and getting him to adapt his position, leaps and bounds. There are many. I'd say Cucurella was in a very good run of form, beginning a run of form as Pochettino left, but Enzo Maresca's, made him a staple in his system. I'd argue that Cucurella being so consistent at a high level. You could argue Caicedo being very consistent at a high level. There's also an argument against that, saying Cucurella and Caicedo are just incredible players. They were going to play like that no matter who they were under. Again, that's very debatable. Pedro Neto, keeping him fit and getting him performing, not at a consistent level, but just getting him to perform at a higher level. overall, and also just keeping him fit, I think he's done wonders. I think it goes deeper than just performances. It also goes deeper in terms of mentality, the way they train, the way that they play for the team, how they fit into the system. So I think he's just done that with a lot of players. So I like to highlight that, because a lot, there are a few fans, a lot of them considering wanting Enzo Maresca out, are saying, oh, he's not done anything for the club. I'm just glad this is being highlighted and it's being noticed, because I think Enzo Fernandez is a fantastic player, and I think he is integral to an Enzo Maresca system. I will always die on this hill that I think Enzo and Caicedo as a partnership is the best in the league. I just think it is. So I just wanted to highlight this and get your thoughts and opinions down below. Do you agree that Enzo Maresca has brought the best out of Enzo Fernandez, or are there other players in the squad that you feel that he's brought the best out of? Bringing through the likes of Josh Ashenpong, for example, giving him more opportunities, getting him to play in that system. There's quite a few examples, in my opinion, when you look at it objectively rather than through the tinted lens of I don't like Maresca or I do like Maresca. If you just look at it objectively, I think there is a lot of examples there. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding Enzo Maresca improving players and your thoughts on Enzo Fernandez. Mr. Dom Smith has reported that Maresca is not only a fan of Neto's quality out wide or is a stand-in number 9, but also of his demeanour. He goes on to report that Chelsea's teen sensation Estevao is breathing down Pedro Neto's neck and pushing hard for a first Premier League start since September. Neto's next step must therefore be to perform at the level he played against Wolves on a more consistent basis. I agree with that last statement. Estevao is breathing down the neck of Neto for a start in the Premier League. It is very obvious. Estevao has been incredible since we've signed him, with very limited minutes, joint top scorer at Chelsea. He scored again for Brazil last night. Yes, it was a penalty, but it was a well-struck penalty. He also hit the post in the 95th minute. It's almost like when Estevao plays, something magic happens across that game. Whether it's a chance for a winner, whether it's him actually converting, whether it's creating chances for the team, something magic happens. Now, I really like Pedro Neto, and I understand he frustrates the fan base with his inconsistent performances. He head down, knock it past the player, spamming crosses. It either works or it doesn't. His work rate, we know that Enzo Maresca loves his attacking work rate as well as his defensive work rate, but it's interesting to get a bit more of an insight of him saying that he can play out wide. He likes him as a 9. I think he plays well as a false 9, but he also likes his demeanour, the way he acts, the way he holds himself, carries himself, the way he trains, the way he gets involved with the team. It's very, very important. We know that Enzo Maresca has his favourites in his system, and we know that he's always going to pick someone like Pedro Neto until talent rises. There is only so many opportunities and so much time before he has to give Estevao that start. And I don't think that he doesn't want to give Estevao the start. We also know that a big part of the board and Maresca is to heavily rotate the players, to look after the players like Estevao who are young, being bedded in, adapting to a new culture, new league, etc. Many, many games to play across the season. However, if you're going on current form, yes, Neto played very, very well against Wolves. And if he can play like consistently, it is going to be hard for the likes of Estevao to break in consistently. Because again, it's going to be like the left-hand side, where you've got Garnacho and Gittins both playing well, and you kind of go, well, right now you play either of them and just see what happens, and you've got that rotation. Now, I feel like Estevao obviously has a massive, massive ceiling, and he is incredible and he's magical. There's a very different style of player between Neto and Estevao. Now, a few of you guys in yesterday's video, maybe the video before, were talking about Estevao's limited minutes, and some of you were saying he needs to start, he needs to play, he's incredible. Some of you were saying he's getting enough minutes for his age and he's being bedded in at the right time. It makes a lot of sense. So even within the fan base, it's quite a 50-50 split. Now, I do believe that Estevao is breathing down his neck, especially off the back of this international run, as well as the Chelsea run he's going on. I feel like he will start against Burnley. Well, actually, no, I don't, because he was used yesterday for pretty much the entire game. So he's going to be absolutely shattered with the travel and things for Burnley. So it looks like Neto will start. And it will upset some fans, because you look at them international games. Yes, it's great to see Estevao doing bits for Brazil. It really, really is. But they were friendlies. So it was kind of pointless in a sense. Now, I get it if it was a qualification game or if it was a knockout game or whatever it may be for international level, but it was friendly. He played both the friendlies, most of the games, most of the minutes. Obviously he scored in the games, which is great. But you look at it now, we go away to Burnley. It's an early kickoff Saturday game. Historically, it's not our best fixture time. We really struggle with the first kickoff of the weekend. But having the likes of Estevao on this red-hot form, if he was taken off a bit earlier in that Brazil game, would love to have seen him start in this current run of form. I think it would be amazing. I'd be very, very, very surprised if Maresca starts him against Burnley because of the travel and the amount of minutes he's played at international level. However, with Pedro Neto, I feel like he'll go straight in. And I'm not mad at that, to be fair. I'm really not mad at that at all. I really like Pedro Neto. I like how Maresca is dealing with the squad. I know that obviously it's heavy rotation. Sometimes it's very, very questionable, I'll admit, and there is times it's been criticised because he's over-rotated, etc. And you want to have more players getting more minutes. I think in this circumstance, it would make a lot of sense for Pedro Neto to start against Burnley. But that does mean Estevao could probably come on in the second half, get a cameo, again, play well, tear Burnley apart, he'll have a field day. But then he is fully raring to go against Barcelona. And what will be very interesting to see if Maresca drops Neto for Estevao for that start, or he pushes Neto across to the left-hand side, so he has his keepstay, his main piece of his system on the left-hand side rather than the right, and plays Estevao for a start on the right. Or, like I said, he drops Neto directly for Estevao. It'd be very interesting to find out what happens in that sense, but I totally agree. There's only so much more time before you can keep Estevao out of that starting position on that right-hand side. And while we're on the topic of Estevao, ESPN Brazil have reported this regarding Chelsea's view on the player and Real Madrid missing out. It says, according to internal sources at Chelsea, officials and members of the coaching staff believe that within 3 seasons, Estevao can reach the status of one of the 10 best players in the world. I think he could be higher than that, if I'm being brutally honest. They are impressed by his maturity, but it is not surprising. Chelsea already expected to find a focused and disciplined player, but the level of commitment exceeded the Londoners' own expectations. He would have been immersed himself in the English style of play, absorbing tactical guidelines and quickly adjusting to the physical rhythm of the most competitive national league in the world. Behind the scenes of Real Madrid, there is a growing discomfort at the fact that the club did not enter negotiations for Estevao when he was still at Palmeiras. The Brazilian duel was analysed, but the Spanish club decided not to move forward, a decision that today is seen in some regret in the face of the player's immediate impact at Chelsea and the national team. I absolutely love this for 2 reasons. One, as fans watching him play, we know he is going to be a future Ballon d'Or winner. At 18 years old, he is doing incredible things with very limited minutes. He's also doing it for the national team, like we mentioned just before in the Pedro Neto segment, so I'm not going to bang on about that too much. However, from a Chelsea perspective, they don't rate him highly. They rate him as one of the best 10 players in the world. And like I said, I think he could go up to be one of the best players in the world within the next couple of years. They're giving him a 3-season span. I think we're going to start seeing glimpses of that next season, because we're already seeing glimpses of how good he is right now. I would already put him in that world-class category in terms of talent and what he can do. He just needs a consistent run of games with starts to really show us what he can do in the Premier League. 18 years old in the Premier League, 18 years old in the Champions League, 18 years old playing for your national side and doing bits every time you get an opportunity. Now, I really like they say that he's impressed by maturity, focus, disciplined, because we all are. The amount of times we've reacted to bits about Estevao and how he's taking everything in like a sponge from Ancelotti, from Enzo Maresca, and he's commenting about how he's been made to feel welcome and feel comfortable and how all he wants to do is play football. You see videos outside of football when he's at church with his family, enjoying life. Not the party boy lifestyle, not the I need to go get a new Rolex type of lifestyle. He just loves football, he loves London and wants to do the best for himself. And it genuinely is a breath of fresh air in the current state of the world that we're in, especially with footballers getting paid an astronomical amount of money every week, right? So I'm glad that it's all kind of coming together. And the cherry on the cake is the fact that Real Madrid missed out on Estevao. Ha! That's all I can say. Ha! They went for the likes of Endrick, they went for the likes of Rodrigo, they went for the likes of all these other Brazilian players. We went for Estevao. They did the analytics on Estevao and went, he looks really, really good. They didn't go in for negotiations because I tell you what, you look at who has the young Brazilians that have gone to Real Madrid. I personally feel like they went there too soon. And maybe Estevao feels that way. Because like I've always said, if Real Madrid, Barcelona come knocking, they are especially Real Madrid, they're the epitome, one of the biggest, if not the biggest clubs in the world, especially from a player's perspective. Every player's dream is to go to Real Madrid. Trent, Hazard, Ronaldo, so many players throughout history, David Beckham, so many, because they're just so good. The champions of Europe forever, winning it 15 times. Like, they're such an institution. So I wouldn't blame Estevao for wanting to have that as the final destination of his career, to really go there in his peak. And I think it could work out better for Madrid in that sense. However, they will have to pay a massive amount of money because of how good he's going to be when they want to try and pry him away from Chelsea. However, Estevao is on a 7-year contract. We may find ourselves with the next Hazard in terms of the way his career played out. Not in terms of skill, because I think Estevao can eclipse Hazard, if I'm being honest, and that's a big, big statement because we know how good Hazard is. What I'm saying is, in the 7 years that Hazard was here, he made it very clear to us that he loved Chelsea, but he wanted to go to Madrid. And he left Chelsea, the best season he played, winning us a European trophy, and said, right, I'm off, I'm going to Madrid, and secured us a mental amount of money in a transfer fee. And I got nothing but respect for Eden Hazard. In my opinion, we got the best years out of him. He went to Madrid. Unfortunately, he was riddled with injuries. Being kicked so much in the Premier League, he basically had glass ankles. Madrid felt that. We obviously got the bag as well as selling Hazard. And unfortunately, he retired a bit too early. But we could see something similar with Estevao. He may just love Chelsea, win lots of stuff here, want to be part of the DNA, and go, do you know what? I'm going to see out my 7 years. Because that takes him to he's like 25 years old. He may want to extend his contract. Who knows? But could you imagine a 25-year-old Estevao then going to Madrid? We could demand whatever money we want. And I'm talking ludicrous amounts of money. We think that the transfer fees of players right now are unbelievable. Imagine what they're going to be like in 7 years' time. It could be an astronomical amount of money. It really, really could. So the cherry on the cake is unlucky, Madrid. You had your chance. You didn't. You just bottled it. You fumbled it. You could have gone in for Estevao. And again, it's such a lucrative pull for any player at any age. He would have taken it more than likely. But I'm glad that he didn't. I'm glad that they bottled it. I'm glad he's come to Chelsea because we can get to reap the benefits. And honestly, we are so lucky and I'm so grateful to be able to watch Estevao put on a Chelsea shirt and play for us, especially for the upcoming years. So I'd like to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding Estevao's cap, his ceiling. Where do you think he's going to be in the next 3 years? Will he win a Ballon d'Or? Will he be one of the top 10 players in the world? And do you think he will end up at Madrid earlier or later in his career? Let me know your thoughts. Matt Law has reported that Cole Palmer has returned to grass at Chelsea's Cobham training ground and will step up his work as long as he does not suffer any setbacks to his recovery from a groin injury that dates back to the Club World Cup. It has been noticed inside Cobham that Cole Palmer has spent his time wisely in the gym while he's been injured, which has been noticeable in the change of his physique. Chelsea's Champions League game against Barcelona has been loosely suggested as a possible return date for Cole Palmer. If he does not quite make that game, then he will hope to play as soon as possible after it, with Chelsea entertaining Arsenal 5 days later. While Cole Palmer is not one of the vocal members of the dressing room, he is part of Chelsea's leadership group and is described as being glue within the club, as somebody who can connect with different ages and profiles of people. Cole Palmer's easy-natured attitude can occasionally be mistaken for not being laser-focused, but sources insist he is deadly serious about his football and his desire to play at the very top for Chelsea and England, which includes going to the World Cup. The Telegraph have reported that Palmer's closest friend in the Chelsea squad is Tosin, but he also struck up a good early relationship with Estevao. They go on to report that sources around Chelsea dressing room have described Cole Palmer as being like an excited puppy the day before the Club World Cup final. There is so much to break down here, but Cole Palmer is back, ladies and gentlemen. We know that the loosely thrown around date for his return in terms of playing was the Barcelona game, and honestly, I feel like he may be ready for that because I feel like he's not going to play against Burnley. I think they're going to take the time. I mean, again, I could be massively wrong here. He could be more ready than we think he is. But he's on grass and he's training this week. We have Burnley on Saturday. It's a few days away. He may get some minutes, but I honestly feel like Enzo's not going to risk it, not going to play him. And I feel like he's going to take the extra time to train, get up to fitness, travel with the squad to the Champions League game against Barcelona. Oh, no, we're hosting them at Stamford Bridge, sorry. He will play in that Barca game. Whether it's a full 90, whether it's a half, who really knows? But I don't really care at this point. I'm just excited to see Cole Palmer back playing for Chelsea. It's an iconic game. It always is. Historically, it will be with this time as well, with the likes of Estevao being available, Cole Palmer coming back on the return. Hopefully he's fully fit and ready to go. I don't want him to be risked against Burnley. And even if he does miss the Barcelona game, I'm not that mad at it because I know that if he does miss the Burnley game and he does miss the Barcelona game, he will 100% be ready for that Arsenal game, which is a huge game this season so early on. It's huge. We always play Arsenal. We seem to always play Arsenal in November, whether it's home or away. And this is almost like a 6-pointer because we're currently third in the Premier League. Depends on what happens against Burnley and all the other results around us. But we need to be taking points off of Arsenal. And I feel like Cole Palmer will be 100% ready for that game. So either way, I'm excited. I wouldn't be disappointed if he doesn't play against Burnley. I won't be disappointed if he doesn't play against Barcelona. It would be a shame, but I wouldn't be disappointed because if that's the case, I know he's going to be raring to go against Arsenal. And I'll take that all day long because they're two massive, massive games back to back. Now, what I found very interesting is apparently being called an excited puppy before the Club World Cup final. Weird phrase, but I kind of get it. This guy thrives under pressure. He doesn't feel the pressure. He's ice cold for a reason. Scored 2 goals, got an assist as well. Unbelievable player. We know this. World class. Destroyed PSG in the final. So I'm glad. If he wants to do that before every game and does it and performs like that, you keep doing that, Cole. You keep doing that. One thing I'm very interested in though, and one thing I'm glad that's been reported, you know, this whole demeanour that he has, very nonchalant, looks like he's not interested. He's laser focused and wants to be at the best of his game, at the top of his game for Chelsea and England, wants to go to the World Cup. I think he deserves to go to the World Cup. There is a big debate over the international break whether he deserves to start over the likes of Bellingham and Saka and all these other players. Cool, you can have that debate, but he still needs to be going. He still needs to be going, and he needs to be a big part of that England squad. And I think he will. He will. It'll be, if he doesn't go, it will be a joke. And I know that Thomas Tuchel is going to be like, yeah, he's got to come. He has to. If he's fit, he's playing. Simple as that. Big game player, especially in knockout tournaments, which Tuchel is an expert in. I feel like England are going to do very, very well under Tuchel. I really, really do. That's coming from someone who really doesn't care about internationals, but Tuchel is a fantastic manager. More on Cole Palmer, though. I'm also interested to see what his physique is looking like when he's on the pitch. And I'm glad that he's utilised his time rather than just being down in the dumps and being like, oh, I can't play and doing the bare minimum. He's been in the gym. He's been getting on the weights and doing everything he can do until he can get back on the grass. So it'll be very interesting because there was a lot of analytics about Cole Palmer, about his body shape and his stature in terms of, you know, he looks quite weedy, quite thin, but very tall. But he's so nimble on the ball. Now he's getting, and I think he's very, very strong on the ball considering his stature on the eyes. I think it's very deceiving. But now if he's getting on the weights as well, it'll be very interesting to see how he can throw his weight around and see how he can adapt that into his game, see if he can adapt it even better, because obviously when you put weight on, whether it's muscle or just, you know, fat or whatever, it's going to change the way that you move as a player. So very interesting to see that. I'm very, very curious. But it's been a long time coming for Cole Palmer to come back, and we are super excited. Now to know that he's back training on grass is huge for us. It's monumental, and he's going to make such a change to this Chelsea team. Knowing that we've been getting results without him for such a long time, just adding him into the mix, it just takes us to another level. And I also find it very interesting that we know that he was good friends with Tosin. There's a running joke that Tosin won't get sold because he's best friends with Palmer. And again, you can read into that as much as you want, but we know that they get on. But it's very interesting that he struck up an early sort of relationship with Estevao. And I'm so happy with that because we saw a very 45-minute glimpse of what Palmer and Estevao can play like when they're on the pitch together. And it is frightening for the opposition. Exciting times for Chelsea fans. So I cannot wait to see both those players playing together on the pitch this season, because if they've already got that telepathic wavelength in terms of connecting on football and they get on well off the pitch as well, we are cooking up a storm. Nominated for awards, incredible talent coming through, world-class players already in the squad. Exciting times for Chelsea. We just need to get a bit more consistent. So let me know your overall thoughts and opinions about Cole Palmer being nominated for awards. When do you think he's going to return? Will it be Burnley? Will it be Barca? Will it be Arsenal? His, his demeanour. What is he going to be like with this new weight that he's putting on by being in the gym? I would love to know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. And that's the latest Chelsea news. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported down below in the comment section. I love having a conversation with you guys. And if you have watched this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one. And I mean that. You're a real one. But secondly, there'll be a thumbnail appears on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you enjoy that video too.